edition of Every Voice Matters on Pat Corner page. I am Samuel Owuosho. As you know, on the show, we look through some of the headlines and stories in the newspaper that makes the rounds in this just concluded week. And I have my analyst in the studio in person of Dr. Gideon Oguneye to make some perspective around these stories. But before we dive into the discussion, let's look at some of the headlines that make the stories in this just concluded week. And I'll be starting from the Daily Post newspaper. And I have with me FG pays ASU 18 days salaries for October. This is coming from the NDLEA chairman. It says, drug abuse stay high in Nigeria, says Mawa. And FG's debt on road housing projects rises to 956 billion. That is coming from Fashola. And this is also coming from the NDLEA chairman in the person of Mawa. It says that Nigerian drug users more than population of 4 African countries, and I'll be taken from the Daily Post newspaper. Let me get through to picking some stories from the Punch newspaper. It says era of election rigging gone, Ocean Rec declares, and rich Nigerians deposit bills of cash in banks over Naira redesign policy. And the last one I'll be taking from the Punch newspaper. I have Unijos ASU issue stay-at-home order to members, and that's what will be taken from the headlines that make the rounds in this just concluded week. So let's get through to look at and engage in some discussion with my analyst in the house. Dr. Gideon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Samuel, and thank you for having me again.
Yeah, you're welcome. And let's get straight to the first talking point we are having for today's discussion, and that is the redesign policy. The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the approval of the President, Muhammadu Buhari, to redesign the 100 Naira, 200 Naira, 500 Naira, and 1,000 Naira notes. And meanwhile, the value of Naira has risen drastically after the announcement of this policy. And many Nigerians have been showing concern and controversies and have engaged in heated arguments about the importance and the irrelevance of this particular development coming at this time, even when the economic woes of Nigeria is actually beginning. And that is the reason why I'll be asking you this question today, Dr. Gideon. That is the Naira redesign policy an economic priority? And is it well conceived by the Central Bank of Nigeria? What would be the advantages and the disadvantages of this policy to the economy of our dear country, Nigeria? Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Samuel, for this important question. First and foremost, let me talk about the reason cited by the Central Bank of Nigeria for redesigning the Naira. The reason is they cited concerns of illicit fund in circulation, and they said that bandits and kidnappers have been exploiting and perpetrating their crimes because of too much illicit funds in the circulation. And also they mentioned the fact that 80% of the Naira in the Nigerian economy are outside the commercial bank vaults. So that means that a lot of people are hoarding the Naira, and that is not good for any economy. So in terms of the advantage, this redesigning of Naira will help to remove these illicit funds that are in the Nigerian financial system. Example, people that are criminals that are hoarding these Nairas, they will not be able to take these Nairas to bank, and they will forfeit the currency. So that is if this redesigning process is well monitored in such a way that the bank managers and people, desk officers at the bank are not doing illicit or illegal business with these people to help them to bring the money in and get the new notes. If there is a tight policy, if there is a way that the whole process will be monitored in such a way that these illicit funds will not find their way back into the commercial bank vaults, then I would say that the policy is a very good one. But on the disadvantage side, or don't let me say disadvantage, let me just quickly tell Nigerians what they should expect with this policy, especially young people. The new notes will be introduced into the financial system December 15, and is expected by January 31st, 2023. All the old notes are brought in, and that is the expiry date for legal tender of the notes. So that means that there will, and you know that normally in December we have a rush of long queues in banks and at the ATMs. So what it means is that there will be a lot of distraction during the festive period. So people should not leave changing the old notes in their hand to the die minute, because that disruption, that distraction will last from mid-December up until end of January 2023. Long queues on the banks because people will be bringing Nairas, and especially people living in rural communities where they don't have access to bank. They will have to travel to the cities. So there will be a lot of congestions at our banks, our commercial banks, and a lot of congestions at the ATM. So people should prepare their mind for this. And this is, I won't say it's a disadvantage. I would say it's something that people should expect in this coming festive period. And I hope that the CBN will monitor this process very well to make sure that the managers at the bank are not playing fast one to get this illicit fund back into the economy, back into the banking force, because we don't want this illicit, we don't want this criminal to be able to change their the old notes in their hand. So this is what I can say about this. What I can say is that people should get prepared for the distraction that will come with the entire process.
Okay, you've actually spoken about the reason why the CBN actually said they want to change the funds, but the notes. But do you think this will actually help in improving the value of Naira? Will it tell in the improvement of Naira? You know, the way Naira has been decreasing over the years now is alarming, to the extent that a Naira to dollar, as at in the parallel market, as at yesterday, is around the 800 Naira more. So do you think this redesign policy will make Naira to gain its value in the forex market?
In the short term, no. The answer is no in the short term, because a lot of people with Naira now are chasing borrow the change operators, trying to convert those Naira to pounds or to dollars. And because of that, the value of Naira will be depreciating, because they are trying to convert the Naira in their hand. And I wish that, I hope that CBN will also tighten that process and will make sure that these people are unable to change the illicit funds in their hand to dollars, because that will affect the Naira if people are able to do this. So in the short term, the value of Naira will continue to drop, but in the long term, it's a good process, is a good policy for the country. If overall, it's a good policy for the country. And I also hope that we can work on our cashless economy policy, where we don't really have to do with much of cash in the economy. People should be able to use electronic payments. People should be able to do electronic transfer of funds, of cash, from one person to another, from one business to another. So the CBN should work more on the cashless economy policy, so that we don't have this problem of hoarding of cash in the Nigeria. Because if they don't work on the cashless economy policy, what will happen with the new notes is that people will also try to withdraw this money from banks and hoard them, because they want to use them for some illicit transactions.
Okay, so thanks so much for that wonderful contribution. So let's move to the next talking point. I know on this project we've done much when it comes to drug abuse and co. At this time, this particular menace is resurfacing, even as the NDLEA officials and chairman are beginning to lament concerning the ways of drug abuse has been increasing this time. And that is very expedient, the reason why we are talking about this again. Because according to a report of on public health reviews, the report shows that the prevalence of drug abuse in Nigeria, a prevalence of 14.4% was reported among members of the general public, that includes all ages, and 20.9% among youths and the community. That is the area I am most important, the use of hard drugs, the use of drug abuse. among the youths in Nigeria. It's alarming at this time. And then how can drug abuse be effectively controlled in Nigeria? And what is the way out of this addiction to youths?
It's a very big, it's a very serious problem because we are talking about 15% of adult population in Nigeria, about 14.3 million people involved in the abuse of psychoactive drugs and substances. And there is a report from Nigerian Bureau of Statistics and also the Center for Research and Information on Substance Abuse, which shows that the age group, the people between the age of 25 to 39 are the highest among the demographics of people that abuse drugs. Cannabis is the most widely used drug in Nigeria. Some people are using the sedatives, heroin, cocaine, and non-medical use of prescription opioids and things like that. So this is a serious concern to everyone. And not only that, people are abusing drugs like cough syrups, like cannabis, and so on and so forth. And I think the reason for this is because these drugs are now affordable and they are very common now in the society, and that is why the addiction is increasing. But what we can do on this program is just to try to educate people on how to prevent substance abuse, and that is what we can do: create awareness that this is a serious problem, and let people know that, look, these are the ways to prevent substance abuse. Number one I will talk about is that people should understand how substance abuse develop. Using addictive drugs for recreational purposes, abusing prescription medication is number one way that substance abuse, that people get themselves involved in substance abuse. And also people should try to avoid the temptation that come with peer pressures. So people should try to develop healthy relationships, healthy friendships, and avoid friends or family members who pressure them into using substances. If you surround yourself with people that are using substances, then there is every likelihood that you will copy that bad behavior. And also, I want to say that there is a lot of help out there for people that are having mental illness. You are having anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. There are a lot of professionals that can help you. Even if we cannot access those professionals, you cannot access a licensed therapist or counselor. There are people that you can confide in, on your pastor, your imam, your friend, your family. And I think people should start opening up to discussing their mental issues with people so that they can get professional help instead of engaging themselves in substance abuse. Like I said, keeping a well-balanced life is important. People often turn to drugs and alcohol when they think that something is missing in their life or not working. I think there are other ways to manage stress and to manage anxiety, to manage difficulties and challenges that one might be facing than resorting to drugs. And this is what we can do in this channel. And I also want to encourage people that are looking for something to engage themselves in. They can come and volunteer with us, and they can work with us. I mean, if you are doing something and you are engaged in something, you volunteer to do something, that takes your mind off the temptation of falling into drugs abuse or getting yourself in peer pressure that is not good for you.
Exactly, because I do and is a devil's workshop. So we should get ourselves involved. And as the project lead says, that you can volunteer in this particular project. Now, let's get to the last talking point of today, and that will be taking us to 2023 general election. Less than 3 months now, Nigeria deciding who become what in Nigerian political sector. And some Nigerians have been raising concern about vote buying, about insecurity and rigging and other vices that may hinder a free flow of and fair election. Now, how can the Electoral Act signed over the years, not recently by the President Muhammadu Buhari, has not gained much awareness from the member of the public, in the sense that some people still believe that your vote doesn't count. Some people still believe that they know who we enter already. They know who will be the next president. They know who will be the governor. They don't actually have a real understanding of the Electoral Act, and some of them still believe that rigging is possible. Rigging is possible. So I wanted to react to this with the looking through the lens of the new Electoral Act. Do you think rigging is it not possible in the coming election? And just analyze that to us.
I don't want to underestimate what the political actors in Nigeria can do. Even though we have a new Electoral Act that prevents the traditional methods of rigging in our elections, but I mean, you can't put anything past Nigerian politicians. But what is important, and what we are doing on this platform, what we are here for on this platform, is to educate the general public, especially young people, not to sell their votes in 2023 general elections. They should vote for the right person. They should know that their vote counts. If their votes don't count, politicians will not pay for them. Politicians are paying for these votes because they know the vote count. And it's important for them to say enough is enough. Enough is enough of bad governance, of electing bad people, of electing failed leadership. Enough is enough of people selling their votes. It is the right time. This is the time to vote right leadership based on their conviction, and not because they have collected money from any politicians. And I think this is important. This is the message that we want to pass across. Number one, vote counts. And number two, young people are the major stakeholders in this forthcoming election. Statistics have shown that they contribute the largest population, the largest of the voting population. So the power is in their hand to decide who becomes what at every level of that election. And I hope that in 2023, they will stand tall and they will vote right candidates from the local government up to state elections, up to the federal, to the national elections. I hope that they are listening to this, and they have made up their mind, and they are saying enough is enough of suffering that comes from selling their votes to bad people.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Gideon Odumere, for being with me in the studio today, analyzing some important topics and topical topics to young Nigerians. And thanks so much, our listeners, for being part of this program. Please do like and share our content as we release them on our page, Fat Corner in uppercase and Fat in uppercase and Corner in lowercase. And I see you next week. I am Samuel Owo Osho. This is Heavy Voice Matters. You know what? Spark the change and lend your voice to building a better Africa. See you.